O Molokai, Molokai e, aina mo mona e ke akua akua e, Pomaikai wale no e. He aloha e, he mahalo e. O Molokai, Molokai e, aina mo mona e ke akua akua e, Pomaikai wale no e, Pomaikai wale no e. Mahalo.
Hello. Well, that it works. It works. Oh, we get one. Hi. Come to me. Oh yeah. Hello. Oh yeah. Thank you. So aloha and good afternoon, everyone. Aloha. Thank you for coming. I'm Laurie Buchanan, the president of Oahu Energy Cooperative Molokai. On behalf of Oahu Energy Cooperative Molokai, I would like to thank our Maui Mayor, Bison, our Councilwoman, Kiani Rollins Fernandez, and our entire Maui County Council for their support to the County of Maui's Office of Environmental Protection and Sustainability Division. Mahalo to Dr. Michelle Nguyen for her leadership of that office and their Green Grants program. And thank you, Michelle, for including us in your speaker series today on Molokai Island. In support of our mayor and our county programs and Oahu Energy Cooperative, Molokai, we would like to extend our deep appreciation of our state legislative representatives, our Honorable Senator Lindy Coit, Representative Mahina Poipoi, for their commitment and support to renewable energy on Molokai Island. Oahu Energy Cooperative Molokai envisions resilient, sustainable, equitable, and culturally conscious energy for all. Our mission is to produce locally owned, affordable, renewable energy for the benefit of our members, our community, and our environment. Mahalo to all the presenters today, and mahalo to all who helped to organize this wonderful information on renewable energy. I would like to call on Michelle to further share opening thoughts. And thank you again, Michelle. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Auntie Laura. Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the Molokai Community Health Center. Welcome also to our live stream viewers on Akaku's Facebook page and their channel 54. My name is Dr. Michelle Nguyen, and I am the Environmental Program Specialist at the County of Maui. Tonight is the second event in a four-part speaker series called Sustainability Together, Community-Led Regenerative Action. The series is all about productive and solution-oriented discussions that inspire Maui County's communities, however they define themselves, to mobilize and take action together for resilience and environmental justice. Tonight, we focus on community-designed renewable energy. This is where communities claim space and take a leading role in designing and rolling out renewable energy projects in their communities. We hope the examples, the tools and resources you hear about tonight inspire you to take action in your own communities and in turn help build a resilient Maui County. Our speakers, thank you so much for putting all of your energy and time. I know you're very, very busy. You're doing so much good work for the county. Thank you for being here. They include Leimana Riti Kamara, Kailana Place, and Ohana, who are Molokai homesteaders. We have Todd Yamashita, a solar energy technician and community organizer. We have Leilani Chow, who is the Energy Sovereignty Program Lead at Sustainable Molokai. We have Kea'a Davis, who is a design strategist at Shake Energy Collaborative. And we have Harumi McClure, who is the CEO and owner of Haru Energy. Each speaker will have 15 or 20 minutes to present. Please hold your questions until the panel discussion at the end. That happens after all the presentations have been presented. And now, Leimana, please take it away.
I'm back. Nah. So aloha mai kako. Aloha o wau o Leimana. And this is my baby sister Kailana. Thought she was following me. I'm presenting right now. Okay. Just checking. Which way? Go backwards? Okay. So we didn't plan anything. We're just gonna go with the flow and feel it out, because how can we tell our story on a piece of paper, you know? So, so we burnt both Kailana. They heard your name, Kailana Leimana, and we have our brother Kauhele hiding in the back. But we were born and raised here on Molokai. We're actually born up Kala'e. We're raised right here on the beach behind us. We just took a walk and check it out. But and then we moved to the homestead. This is the Riti Kamara Ohana. We lost our dad a month ago, so we wanna just honor him and dedicate our memories to him in our presentation today. Dad Ray Kamara. This is a little bit of our ohana. We are 11 born to Thad and Scarlett Kamara Riti, and 9 living today. So Kailana is the baby. I'm in the middle, and this is us and our keiki, our kids. So can you just click, and I'm just gonna talk. 1998, 99, we moved to the homestead, and with our mom and dad went their separate ways. Mom took us, went to the homestead, and all I remember, I was maybe 10 or 11, is just a field of grass up to here, and mom had a pick in her hand, and we had a water spigot, and she just started digging, and she opened up a little area for us, and we had water. We put up a tent, and we're good to go. That was it. That was our new home. And that's how it was for years. Eventually, we evolved. We, had bigger tents and easy ups. Dad built us a kitchen, but I never really questioned why we don't have electric, or it was just what it was. We heard the gas running out of, the generator running out of gas. Who's gonna go run and fill it up? Everybody, so running outside, putting gas. I remember lighting our oil, putting it under the heater, and then trying to light it and run away. We had that kind of heater. But I also remember just, Mom had gardens, and then we would just eat saimin and whatever we had. I remember eating corn sometimes. But that was just our life, and we just lived like that for years. Kailana was little. She was maybe like 5. Kauhele was maybe like 7. So they had a different perspective than me. I eventually left for a couple years to go to school, and then came back. So now on the homestead, there's my sister Malia. She has 6 kids, no electric. This is when we had the bad deer. They just kept on eating everything. The bad deer problem, like a couple years ago. But so on the homestead, we have Malia with her 6 kids, no electric. Kailana and her family, her 2 boys and her husband, they have no electric. Mom, nothing. She doesn't even have a generator. My sisters have generators and propane stoves. And then my niece Melia, she lives on the bottom. She has, some kind of generator and some solar, half-half. but we share a 35-acre parcel. So everybody's kind of split up. Dad had his own little area. He never had electric, and then Todd just got him some solar, just a little bit for, lights or whatever, in the last couple years, in the last year or so. But growing up on the homestead, this is what the kids look like, just red dirt at all times. So it's like, every time we go to the homestead, I'm like, oh, shoots, okay, make sure the kids have extra clothes before you're coming back in the car. But it just gave us a appreciation for what we have and being thankful for what we have. So Mom lives there now, and what she does for extra income and stuff is she sells plants, produce, chicken eggs, whatever she can to substitute for gas, propane. They have propane icebox. Yeah, everybody get propane icebox and fridge, which is like only lasts 2 weeks. Gas grill for cooking. And then they have hot water showers, gas. So that depends. It lasts maybe 2 weeks for the icebox. How much is the propane is like?
So it depends on the usage. So fridge, ours is kind of old. Everything that we have is pre-owned. So our fridge would last maybe 2 to 3 weeks on propane. The shower varies, but maybe a month or so, because there's 4 or 5 of us that's using it. And then our grill, depending on how much we use it, it could last almost a month. So that it depends on our usage.
And then, so keep on going. So we got to be a part of a video that we're going to show after this. But before that, Kailana and this is Mom's. So Mom live in a tent still. Kailana them have a house now, and my other sister lives in a tent also. So no really permanent structures. My sister farms kalo, taro. So this is kind of our landscape is just kind of open. And so we come to where Ho'ahu, trigger, where Ho'ahu stepped in and helped our ohana. Okay, this is you.
Okay, I'll try to make it as succinct as possible because I don't want to be, here bawling my eyes out. But I was on the homestead since I was 5 years old. Like Leimana said, it was a lot. Sun went down, kerosene lamps, with the little wick and everything. That's kind of how it went for quite a while. Then after quite a few years, I was able to move into a bus. So aside from tents, we had buses as a lifestyle, right, with extensions over it. But everything was dirty energy. We had propane, we had gasoline for our electric to run whatever we needed. And just last year, that happened. Sorry. I think it's the pregnancy that I thought I got it out of my system. But anyways, after this happened, it was a crazy, unexpected blessing. We lost everything, but we gained so much in return. Sorry. So at this time, we were still dirty energy, no electric, just generator, propane. And during this time, we also were trying to build a home because I have 2 little ones. And we didn't, at that time, the structure was up, but we didn't have anything inside, any interiors to live in. So this huge thing happened. And months later, so much blessings came from family, from the community members and whoever else, including Todd and the whole team that just started this Ho'ahu Co-op. And right after that, within months of this happening, we're able to get in there, had insulation, had somebody come to help with, donating paint. And then here comes Todd with the crew and saying, hey, we want to help you guys out. You guys are going to be the pilot for our new co-op that we're trying to do and provide homesteaders with dirty energy. with clean energy. I said, holy moly, are you serious? He said, yes. So the only give back was to do a film and be interviewed and all of these things, which I don't like to do. But we agreed and committed to whatever we need to do to help and contribute to this awesome impact that we're having here on Molokai, because we have so much homesteaders that are living similar to us. I'm not sure if they have electric or not, but just having the option of some kind of clean energy impacts your bank account, impacts the environment, and just the way of living changes so much more, and it's so much easier, from trying to figure out if you need oil or if the generator is broken or if you need gas or change certain things, to switching a light off and on. That was just the highlight of my whole solar, was having the solar to turn my light off and on. So that was a total blessing, and I just wanted to thank all you guys for coming and creating this opportunity for people to also learn how to be their own technicians, and having this option for the homesteaders who might not have the tools, might not have the financials to pay for a solar system. I'm not sure how much it costs nowadays, because all we knew was dirty energy, and we was okay with it because that's the lifestyle that we had and that we knew, and we didn't have any budget to find another way, a newer, better, more efficient way of living, until my home, everything, disappeared and was destroyed in ashes. But like the phoenix, we're gonna rise, and just like this whole Ahu, we're gonna rise and be better, and have this available to more homesteaders. And this is just awesome. And I don't know what else I can say, but it's been an awesome experience to have solar and not needing to go and grab gas. Oh, the reason for the oh yeah, and we just got a new refrigerator, okay? Because we had a little fridge with a little freezer that wasn't Energy Star. And we just got a refrigerator last week, so if anybody needs some freezer space, we have some now. But we are really appreciative of everything that is being given to us. So whatever we can do to contribute, even if it's our testimony, I can cry a few more times, it's fine. It's gonna help me heal, get through the process. But anything I can do, because this is such an awesome opportunity for everybody on Molokai, and we can put our footprint on, in Hawaii, that, people with limited resources, we come together, we gather, we have a vision and goal, and look at the impact that they have done already within the short amount of time that they started this co-op. I am a testimony to that, and I'm sure so much more homesteaders too. So I don't know what else I can say, but thank you, and sorry for the little episode. Thank you.
Oh, wow, Kailana, that was good. Okay, so we're gonna play a 3-minute clip of our documentary that Todd and we're a part of. So, sorry, I forgot to do this.
We couldn't run a computer, a simple computer. And don't get sick and want to use the asthma machine, because we're going to have to go drive to auntie or uncle's house. Every day it's challenging. We just learn to overcome it all. The land, it never had any electricity. So I got a generator. So I used the generator all this time. It costs money. I just feel uncomfortable running a generator 8-9 hours a night just for lights.
We were right up the road, and we just looked up and just saw a dark cloud. And I had a feeling when I looked at it that it was in our area. We had a black Labrador, a beautiful dog.
Yep.
I mean, super intelligent, and he was tied up on the cord to the tree, and it was right near the house, in front of it. That was a real, killer for me because we raised him from a little puppy, and that was our kid's first dog.
The fire inspector said whatever was on at the time probably tripped. And then with the propanes being there and gasoline, it just accelerated everything. By the time they put the fire out, everything was literally ashes. Well, with solar, what I'm most excited is being able to switch a light off and on. We never got to do that. Whenever we had to turn something on, we needed to put gas in a generator, check the oil, turn it on. If it doesn't work, just a lot of problem solving. But with a light, with the solar, all you gotta do is just turn it up. I mean, turning a light switch, as simple as that, take it for granted. But for us, it's a big deal.
I'm more excited about saving money.
True, yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna double check our voltage on our system. Okay. Oh, look at that, 110. We got solar coming up. Yay!
Thank you very much. What are you guys?
Happening.
Oh, absolutely amazing. I mean, totally blessed, overwhelmed, and just grateful. That's the 3 words I've been using since we lost our home. So thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. It's kind of a tough act to follow. Lots of emotion. My name is Tanya Mashida, and I'm a fourth-generation resident of Molokai. And for 2 years, I was Oahu Energy Cooperative Molokai's president, and recently stepped down to let Auntie Lori take charge so that I could lead and raise a small army of local solar installers. So I teach workforce development, and all of us here are trying to do this together in various different ways. So I'm kind of like a cheerleader for Molokai. If you guys see my face or see me talk here and there, it's really because I can see the potential of this island. I know this island. It's in my blood. And there's just, how can you not work towards that? I'm also, in terms of solar and renewable energy, I'm also just a baby because I've really only been doing this for about 3 years. And so I'm here to reflect on what I've seen and what I've gone through in the past 3 years as someone who's excited and new to this. Okay. So thank you for coming. This gathering is to let you know that our Molokai people are using grassroots efforts to jumpstart our transition to renewables. I want to talk about big picture renewables first. After that, I think all of us here, or maybe most of us here, are wondering, when will renewables actually help me? When can I save money for my family? And I definitely want to touch up on that at the end a little bit too. I'd like to start off by talking about energy justice, because energy justice is what has brought us all here, whether we know it or not. When you don't have energy justice, what is that like? It's when you're worrying about how you can pay your next bill, worrying if they're going to shut your meter off or not, worrying how much food you can buy because of the price of electricity. It's for some people, it's taking cold showers. It's suffering through hot weather with AC. For other people, it's trying to keep your medicine cold or trying to keep the breathing machine on. And for many others, it's living off grid, living off a generator, living out of a cooler with ice in it. Living without energy justice is about being dependent on an energy source that fuels war amongst people and a war against the planet itself. And that might be real pie in the sky kind of stuff, but I do care about this planet, and I do believe that I and this community can really do something about it. We can at least do our part and more. Energy justice begins when we stop using energy as a means of oppression and extraction. Energy justice will only happen when the promise of renewable, sustainable, clean energy will actually benefit those who need it most. And this is just a really simple diagram I literally stole off the internet, but I like this because it shows like a win-win-win situation, right? When we're working in one area, we can be impacting and benefiting other areas. Climate justice, energy justice, environmental justice, they all go hand in hand. We know that as Molokai people, that the future that we build together, it has to be pono. There is no other choice for us. It has to reflect and honor our values, our kupuna and our keiki, and especially the land itself, the aina. I think this is something that we can all agree upon as Molokai people. We know what we want and we have our values to guide us. But the question is, can this humble community pull it off? And can other rural communities like ours, everywhere on in this planet who are suffering like we are, energy injustice, can they pull it off too? And that's really what I'm here to share, because I feel like, shucks, if we can do it, if we can build something out of nothing here on Molokai, then pretty much everybody else should be able to build something too. So first, to answer that question, can we pull it off? First of all, not only can we do it, but I truly believe we will achieve energy sovereignty within our lifetime. I really do believe it, within our time. And I know this because Molokai people have been doing absolutely amazing things in energy over the past 3 years. And I'm here to give testament towards all of that work and all of that energy that's being put into things. This is our local group. You might see some of these people in the crowd. Yeah, we're actually, I'll talk a little bit about workforce as we go on. Okay, so this is my recipe. Recipe for energy independence. And this is not an absolute. These are just observations. But this is us guys. This is me telling you our story, what we did to kind of get here. The first step is creating a local hui, creating a local team, like-minded people that have the fire, they have the passion, they actually care about doing something new and something different, something for other people. The second thing is learning and planning together. If you're starting off in something that you don't know about, you need to know what you don't know. And Ho'ahu and Sustainable Molokai, the Clean Energy Hui, together, these two organizations have put literally hundreds of hours of meetings together to pull the community together over Zoom, over COVID. We just didn't stop several times a week, every week. Whether it was just with board members or organizers or including the entire, as much of the island as we could. Partnerships. So after you figure out what you don't know, you have to attract the partners to yourself, outside partners, right? What are the things that I can't get? What are the things I can't figure out for ourselves here on Molokai? And with the partnerships, you broaden your network and broaden your knowledge base. And you also have this, a lot of times, well, I'll get into that later. Anyway, the next thing, local workforce. I'm super proud of this. I really have to drop the name Liliana Napoleon. She is a staff member for Oahu Energy, and in less than 3 years, in 2 years, this woman has partnered with Maui County and others, Makaha Learning Center, to put together a workforce, a real workforce. We are getting nationally certified technicians that are trained to do solar installation, and we're on our third cohort already, and that's less than two years. So close to 30 people already that we're adding to our local workforce, and we did this through the county. The county was able to see our vision. They believed in us. There was that level of trust because we put those hundreds of hours in, going back and forth with our community, being transparent with our community. They invested in us, and I'm proud to say we're delivering. Pilot projects. You guys saw one of our very first pilot projects. Super important. Start small. How can you do something that you can do within a year? Even if it's small, it can make a really big difference for people. And so that's what we did. We used our workforce, and we didn't just learn solar. We built solar for people who needed solar. And paying it forward. So what do I mean by that is we have Ke'a here representing Shake Energy. Ke'a is from Molokai, but her boss, Ali, my friend, she's not from Molokai. But she has this vision of a new style of developer, which is not to come in and do what developers typically do, but to learn about our community as best she could. And throughout that process of learning about us, we got to learn about energy. And we didn't just stop at creating our own cooperative on Molokai. We actually reached out to other communities in Hawaii, like Waianae, like Kahuku, and have been successful at starting cooperatives through our influence of other communities. So make sure you to pay it forward. If somebody does something good for you, you got to do it for somebody else. Okay, I'm going to try to finish this up as fast as I can. One of the main questions, which again most of us have, is, shucks, when is this going to help me? When can I benefit from this? For some of you, solar plus energy storage is coming this year through a number of pilot projects, mainly for those living without electricity. And next year, many of these projects will expand to grid-connected homes. Clean Energy Hui under Leilani is, they're taking on a huge multi-year effort to bring together a plan, something that's transparent, something that's been vetted by this entire community, something that's been created by this whole community. So we have this whole effort coming in the next year, and it's guided by this community planning process. And so Oahu is doing, they have plans to do about 15 off-grid homes with the Department of Energy. Awesome partnership there. IEEE is doing 2 pilot projects this summer, and probably another dozen more after that. Haru Energy, we're going to hear from Harumi a little bit later about how she's working with our local installers to do another 5, and these are grid-connected homes. And I am announcing right now, the 5 grid homes, and she'll talk more about that, but I really want you guys, if you guys need solar for your home, please talk to me afterwards. Okay, and let's see. Oop. That's it for me. Leilani, I'm queuing you up. Thank you, guys.
Okay, mahalo Todd, and aloha everybody. Ovauno o Leilani, no mapulehu Molokai mai au. Noho au I mapulehu me ko'u ohana, o I kaika gante ko'u kane, me ko mau kaika mahine, o ka ua koko, e hao na makahiki, and kuelewe o kahi o na makahiki. Hello everybody, I live out on the east side of Molokai in Mapulehu with my family. My kane is Ikaika Gante, and together we have 2 daughters, Ka'ua Koko, who is 4, and Kueloe, who is 1. And I'm just a regular Molokai girl. I have a family whom I cherish. I have a homestead that sustains us. I have a community whom I love, and I have an island home that has shaped my understanding of kuleana in many ways. I am not an energy expert. I have no formal education in anything energy, and I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to do development. But what I do have is 13 years of experience working within the Molokai community on energy conservation. And a lot of it actually was with Sustainable Molokai. We did a lot of household energy audits, swapped out 40,000 light bulbs to CFLs, came back 10 years later, swapped them all out to LEDs, been changing people's faucet aerators, shower heads, over 2,000 energy efficient appliances. And I'm super thankful to Sustainable Molokai for always giving me a place to come home to during school breaks and summer breaks to continue learning in this energy space. And I'm especially thankful to the entire Molokai community for allowing me to come into your homes and listen to, your energy concerns, your energy frustrations, see your energy habits, and hear your energy hopes and dreams for our future. And because of this experience, I understand my kuleana as continuing to amplify those voices in the energy space. And so I started as a student volunteer, but I now lead Sustainable Molokai's 2 renewable energy programs. One is our Hui Up Appliance Exchange that helps Molokai residents get access to energy efficient appliances. And the second one is more on the proactive side, which is I coordinate the Molokai Clean Energy Hui. And we do most of our work on Zoom, thanks to COVID and 21st century technology. But this Hui is about 60 members. Half are from the Molokai community. It's experts in energy or those who have a strong interest or background in renewable energy who have been advocating for Molokai's energy sovereignty and equity for decades. And for the first time ever, this Hui also includes energy experts from off-island. So this is folks from the PUC, from HECO, Maui County, Hawaii State Energy Office, past energy developers, present energy developers from Hawaii and beyond. And so together we've created this monthly standing two-way space for two-way dialogue, which has been a key instrument in organizing our community around feasible renewable energy options that we actually want. Okay, so the Hui's biggest project is called the Molokai Community Energy Resilience Action Plan. And this is what we've been working on for the past couple years. It's island-wide, community-led renewable energy planning for the island of Molokai. The vision for CRAP is to develop a portfolio of projects that will help us achieve 100% renewable energy that are also respectful of our culture, our environment, the lifestyle we have here, and that are actually strongly supported by the community. Which, if you know anything about Molokai's history, you know we are pretty good at saying no to projects that we don't want. This was our opportunity to figure out what we want to say yes to. So besides the formal vision statement, this is the core of what CRAP is all about. The current energy planning process is very top-down. It starts with the PUC and HECO and developers, and they plan projects based on what they think would be best for us. And by the time they bring it to the community, there's not enough space or time for community's input to actually be inputted into the project. And as a result, the community just shuts it down. CRAP is the exact opposite of that. It starts with the community. It heavily invests in educating and building our on-island capacity to lead and to think critically about the energy decisions we have to make. It organizes our community voice. It's created a space and a process for us to co-design renewable energy projects that lead to community consensus or island-wide support. So don't worry about reading all the little things on here. This is just a high-level summary of the process that the community has created. So on the left side, you see the main folks who are involved. Of course, the community who drives this planning process and everything in it. The Molokai Clean Energy Hui, who acts as like the ears and the hands to collect the community input, organize it, and turn it into action items. We have Sustainable Molokai, who provides staffing, like myself and a couple others. And then we've selected HNEI to be our key technical partner, who brings the technical expertise to make our projects feasible and economically sound. So we started this process with a lot of aligning of our visions, figuring out what our community-wide energy goals are. We spent like the first 6 months doing our homework, learning everything about our energy system, and we asked the community, hey, what do you guys want to know? And they told us, and everybody showed up to all of the briefings to do all of the learning. And then we consolidated the actual heavy community engagement to the last 3 months of 2022. And it was an iterative process where we asked the community, like, hey, this is what we heard. Is this what you guys said? Yes. What else do we need to know in order to continue making decisions? And so we did 4 rounds of that, which brought us to June, where we just submitted our final report to the PUC. A lot of folks on Molokai ask, okay, who's leading CRAP? And I just wanted to give the community a huge shout out. We asked you guys, how do you want to participate in defining our renewable energy future? And people told us their preferences. You know, we want the engagement short and sweet. We want the Zoom version. We want the written version. We want it in the dispatch. We want it on the bulletin boards. We want the short videos. And just listening to how people want to be involved, 2,800 plus conversations within this community, hundreds of surveys, countless focus groups and community events. These are some of the engagement stats that the community asked for. They asked for us to break it down by ahupua'a so we could further improve our engagement and outreach methods. They wanted to know who exactly from our community is participating so we can make sure to do more specific outreach in areas. One of the themes for this is there's something for everybody. Nobody in this community is left out. Like our off-grid homesteaders, those kinds of people never get planned for in HECO planning processes. And so this was the first time where they really got to say what they want, and we're unified as a community to say this is what they need, and we're gonna go get it. So we went from 0 renewable energy projects that we supported for like the past 10 plus years, and now we have 10 projects in a portfolio that the community strongly supports. Don't worry about the placement, it's just for example. But I'm gonna go over the projects super quickly, just super high level. So when we asked the community how renewable energy can support our island, everybody said we want our emergency preparedness, disaster resilience updated, because we actually don't really have an emergency plan here. Everything's relying on those generators and the fuel barge coming in. So the first project was on-site renewable energy for all of our critical infrastructure. And the community put together a list of 40 plus critical infrastructure that are the top of the top for us. The second project is fast-tracking Ho'ahu's CBRE at Pala'au and Kuala Pu'u. They did an excellent job at project-specific community co-design, which was heavily community driven and designed, and so we're really happy with the results. Number 3 is starting to distribute our grid. Right now, everything's centralized at Pala'au, and we learned through the technical expertise that if you actually put things out in Mauna Loa or put things out in Mana'e, it strengthens the entire grid and increases the overall resiliency and energy quality for our island. Project number 4 is a bunch of different renewable energy projects that support homesteading, from single homes to multiple homes on a family lot to community scale renewable energy generation. And then number 5 is individual renewable energy projects. That's rooftop solar, connected and not connected to the grid. So projects 6 through 10 are still a little bit more in the works. We got a lot more homework to do on those, but those include figuring out what our plan is going to be for the east side of the island, especially since sea level is rising and our roads are disappearing. You can see the lines. That's the east side grid, and all of our energy infrastructure follows the roads. And so it's important to make sure that we plan for those kinds of things when we're thinking about what our renewable energy future is going to look like. It includes investigating floating solar and pumped hydro in our reservoirs on Molokai, figuring out what our firm energy options are going to be. There's so far strong interest in biomass and biofuel and stuff like that. We'd like to know a little bit more on what the impacts are to our INA and to our people. And then the last project was electric vehicle use on Molokai. So we are interested in more than just the cars. You know, we like the trucks. We possibly want the boats, the quads, all that kind of stuff. And we'd like those things to be more accessible to the everyday Molokai person. Okay, this was just a slide that shows everything that the community learned in order to get to the end results of this process. We did our homework, and all of these topics were suggested by the community and digested and translated by the Molokai Clean Energy Hui and shared with everybody during our community engagement. And I'm gonna go through this part really quickly too. It's just a visual evolution of how this plan came to be. So we started with doing all of our homework, right? And talking story, and we had a super broad level understanding of what kind of energy generation options the community is interested in, what kind of storage options, and where is our top priority for renewable energy to go. So this is what the first draft looked like. We took it out to the community, got feedback on all the different types of generation and storage options, which led to our second rough draft. And the community said, we want to know how much energy is being used where. Sorry, all the words are really small. But I'm just showing that it went from no projects, just super broad, to now we got 3 projects where the community is like, we're really interested in that. And it includes additional learning. We went from 3 projects to 6 projects that the community is starting to build. And this was presented at La Pilina in November. And based on the feedback from community taking a look at this, we now have the most detailed version of each project. So if you look in the CRAP report, this is what you're going to see. A 2-page spread. We've got a beautiful visual of what it could possibly look like. We learned that, you know, creating the visuals is super helpful in communicating really complex concepts. Each project has a description. We learned that doing like a SWOT analysis where you write the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of each technology was super helpful and an easy way for people to digest a lot of the technical stuff for each of the different technologies. We have a community position statement. We have project-specific requirements. So this is not just us saying, oh, we just want this. We're saying this is exactly how we want it. And if you would like us to say yes to your project, then you got to at least meet these project-specific requirements. And on the right column, we outlined who the key stakeholders are. So this one is for Project 1, on-site renewable energy and storage systems for all of our critical infrastructure. We learned that a majority of the critical infrastructure on Molokai is owned by county and by state and some private owners. And so we have them all listed out there. We learned from past planning that if you're not specific in your action items or your next steps, it decreases the likelihood of it going anywhere. So we were very specific. They all got their homework below, and that's for each of the 10 projects. Okay, I just wanted to go back to this slide real quick because I wanted to talk a little bit about the role of the Molokai Clean Energy Hui. So Todd had a recipe for energy independence. I have something a little bit similar. It's the key to successful, sustainable, renewable energy development on Molokai. So what we learned from this process is that a unified community voice equals a way stronger ask. Never before has a community requested a status conference with the PUC, and never has a community before been granted the space and the time to do their own planning. And we were able to do that through a lot of community engagement and the community, the Molokai Clean Energy Hui acting as a single unified voice for all of us. The only way to get that like unified community voice is you have to have trustworthy leadership that is dedicated and committed to our community values. Yeah. If you have that unified voice, that's how you can ask for the major system and process changes that we asked for, and we can begin to see those kinds of changes. When you add a technical expert to the community expertise, and it should be equal parts, that's when you get very specific projects that can't be ignored or can't be said no to, because not only is it supported by the community and backed by community expertise, it's also supported on the technical side of the feasibility study and the power systems analysis and by doing our homework. And then the last part is having a community co-design process that actually works for the Molokai community. And that was this slide over here that was created by the community when we asked them how they would like to participate. And that was my last slide, but overall, thank you. I'm super proud of this community. We've been asking for a seat at the table and for our self-determination for decades now. And through CRAP and all the work that Ho'ahu is doing, we've shown that we have the capacity, we have the capability, we have the competency to do this kind of work. And we know that communities all across Hawaii want the same thing, and they can do it too. It just takes a little bit of organizing and doing our homework. Mahalo.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for staying tuned and present, even as we have these presentations back to back. Also, mahalo to everyone who made it possible for me to be here today. Okay, sounds like the audio is all right. Also, Kalamai, I think I got pulled into this a little bit on short notice, but I'm happy to share some learning specifically around space making and gathering, as well as co-design in the context of community-driven energy, based on a few examples and stories from my own experience with Shake Energy Collaborative. So what is Shake Energy Collaborative? I think I'll tell you what Shake is, and then I'll also tell you about how I came to work with Shake. So who am I? I'm Kea'a Davis. I grew up out on the homesteads. Some of you guys may remember me and my family selling watermelons when I was a teenager. I don't know. If you have been around for years, you might remember that. But Shake, how did I come to meet Shake? So Shake Energy is actually an initiative, a company, an experiment around how energy development might be done in a more community-driven way. We use human-centered design, which has often been used in the context of engineering, to make engineering more user-friendly. And we've taken it and are now applying it in the context of how might we use these tools to make energy more informed by community values. So Shake has been doing work on Molokai. I want to say they've been here for quite a while, but I got involved with them actually at the beginning of 2020. I want to say in 2019 they started hosting community meetings specifically around community-based renewable energy, so the CBRE program. And also, just a fun anecdote, here is our mighty team of 5. Small but mighty, and happy to support the work that Ho'ahu has been doing. So also a major shout out to the folks at Ho'ahu. Here on the far left is my lovely boss who you've heard about a few times tonight, Mrs. Allie Andrews. And an anecdote that I like to tell everyone is I got to know Allie and I really became a facilitator with Shake in Kuala Lumpur Market because I ran into her literally the first week of the pandemic. And I thought to myself, she looks so familiar. And turns out I had had a coffee chat with her previously. But that is how it came to be. So if you can imagine, to paint the picture for you, I grew up here. I graduated from Molokai High School in 2016. And I moved back home, not really by intention, kind of by accident in 2018. 2020 specifically because of the pandemic. So I was finishing my last semester of school from the homestead, and I wasn't really sure how my design degree that I was getting was supposed to tie back to the work that was happening here. And it was through Allie that I found out about the work she was doing with Ho'ahu to use design to leverage community-owned energy futures. And so that is how I came to be connected with Shake today. Since then, I've been involved as a design strategist and also a facilitator with several projects throughout the country, not the country, the Pai'aina is the word that came to mind. But there are 3 projects I want to talk about today. And then I also want to talk about best practices for community organizing in general, especially around energy on Molokai, but also in the context of the greater Pai'aina. But yes, our role is to design ally. So we are here to hold the space, to create the awai, the guiding structures, without being at ourselves the center of any conversation happening around energy here. I really like to think of myself as a space maker. So Shake and Ho'ahu, we got started hosting community meetings with Ho'ahu very frequently in 2020. These you might have, some of you I actually remember seeing you at these meetings. They were board meetings that were weekly and community meetings that were monthly. We met for, I want to say, almost 2 years before we submitted the CBRE with Ho'ahu in partnership with Ho'ahu. That was recently. RP was accepted and it's moving along, but 2 years worth of work and meetings went into this. This is heavy work. It takes a lot of time and energy to make happen. So these took place over Zoom meetings, but another way that we're constantly thinking about is how might we supplement Zoom meetings. I think Zoom can be so not tactile, and we're so used to being able to see each other face to face. And so part of what our process involved was mailing things to people. How might we mail activities? I think some of you might remember, I think we sent mailers out with activities for Keiki around imagining what the visual footprint of solar panels look like. Or for another project, I want to say we mailed tokens out to people to envision how energy could be distributed to different businesses versus community members versus nonprofits. And so a lot of what we do is leverage facilitation tools to help guide these conversations. And so 2 years of meetings, goodness gracious. I just want to send another mahalo to all of you who showed up to those and really allowed your voices to guide that process moving forward. I will come back to this in a second. The other thing I wanted to talk about is after Ho'ahu, we started working with the Waianae Valley Homestead Association. There was some interest there. They're another place that has extremely high energy costs. And so we were working with them in a similar way to we were working with Ho'ahu to find ways that energy and renewable energy opportunity could be integrated into the existing systems and structures of their community. And so in many ways, we followed our model with Ho'ahu. Because Shake is based on Oahu, we were able to integrate in-person practices as well. But I think here we were still learning. And a big part of what Shake does is helping huis organize into entities that can take on big projects like these. So part of it is guiding the values for these projects and the huis moving forward. And then the third project I want to talk about is Ka'ala Farms. You might know them out near Waianae. They're up in the valley. They produce food, truly, truly amazing work. And they also have stewards that take care of the place there. And so one of the big ambitions with the Ka'ala Farm project is being able to turn their produce and their aipono and whatever it may be into value-added goods on site through a community kitchen on the farm. The thing is, they're also quite far off grid, and so this was a really interesting opportunity to investigate ways that a microgrid might be implemented. And so one of the great challenges of doing community organizing and gathering around energy work is translating highly technical information into things that are understandable for community members. I think building technical capacity is super essential for reinstating agency, and agency is required for having sovereignty over how energy is implemented in our lives. So a big part of this was being able to translate between technical knowledge and the knowledge that these really lived experts of these different places make those two merge together in one direction that made sense. And so one example I'd love to give, this is the only image I have. I just don't have a picture to show you, but I can explain it to you. So each of the volunteers that showed up to this workshop at Ka'ala Farms had a vision for an appliance that they wanted to see on their farm. And they understood how appliances work, even if they didn't fully understand how much energy it took to run an appliance. And so part of our programming in working with Ka'ala Farms was translating between appliance to how much energy it takes to maintain that appliance to how many panels would be required to make that appliance run. And so a key part of this workshop was literally like almost breaking down appliances into like a currency that was understandable. And then after letting people lay out what their dream kitchen was like, what appliances were there, then demonstrating using real panels, which you can see here, what the physical land like footprint of a project that would support that kitchen would have to look like. And I think being able to build capacity for people to understand scale is really, really important with this work, especially with how much solar and all energy connects to INA these days. So the reasons why I tell you this story is I think there are a few things to keep in mind if you would like to get involved with this work, and also if you want to be hosting community gatherings around this work in the future. So let me show you how we've evolved our process since the early days of just meeting a lot on Zoom. And I'm talking, these meetings would go 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours, goodness gracious. A huge mahalo to the people who stayed on these meetings on Zoom after their 9 to 5s. But here's how our process evolved. So we went from a 1-week process into a 2-week, like a bi-weekly. So we'd meet every other week. And what would happen is in this meeting, we would introduce a topic. So maybe if we start sharing from here. So we would introduce a topic. Before we even started gathering people, we'd have a list of decisions that need to get made, and we'd break those decisions down into however many meetings that we would need. So it could be, say, for example, we have another series of workshops starting with a different community this fall, and those are going to run from the next weekend, July 15th through November. We map how many meetings we have, and then we also map how many decisions need to get made before that last meeting in order to reach a milestone that is essential. And then what we do is first we introduce a topic. This might be talking about how a solar panel works, how an inverter works. It might talk about what kinds of contractors are required to make what you want happen. It might be, hey, let's introduce you all to some contractors today and let you guys get to know them a little bit better, get to understand how they might impact your community. After introducing a topic, the meeting ends, and then we cut to the next meeting. In between this meeting and the next meeting, my team is going through transcription notes. We're collecting notes into some kind of summary so that everyone can have it for the next meeting. We're also collecting answers to any questions that might have come up. Maybe there are questions about how much one inverter will cost versus another inverter, or there'll be questions about what kinds of other contractor options are there. And so this little 2-week period we found is actually really important for ourselves to gather information, but also for people to build an understanding of their point of view and opinion. I think sometimes it's very easy to rush in and say, here are all the options, and we want you to make a decision right now. And I think what we've learned is most of the time that's just not realistic. So this 2-week period is like actually really important for emergence to happen and to let ideas come forth. And so then we come to the next meeting where the decision is made after 2 weeks of simmering and looking things up. In this cycle of introducing new information before deciding on new information with a rest in between, we found helps people to really show up to meetings without needing the burnout of just really long meetings. I think if there's anything I could ask you all to do is to really consider how much of a privilege it is to have time to show up and be present at these community meetings. And so something we're thinking about moving forward is how reciprocity might be used to help kokua and support those who give so much time to be present at these meetings in a way that feels respectful and right in the context. I am a design nerd, so I might be going too deep into the weeds here, but I think I'll start wrapping things down just for the moment being. Let me just kick it back to this picture of Oahu. All of you as community members, if there's anything I would leave you with is to, one, your voices are so important, each person who shows up to meeting. I like to say that I just hold the space and then the insight comes forth from the people there. So if you have time, if you are interested, if you are passionate, highly, highly encourage you all to be present for these if you can. And then if you are organizing these spaces, I would just, once again, encourage you all to think about what kinds of kapu and kanawai, what kinds of guidelines you can set to make sure people can show up to be their best selves and feel centered in the conversations they're in. I can nerd out about this all night long, so I'm going to stop here, but if you have more questions for me, please ask me later. Thank you.
Aloha, and I'm a little nervous because everybody from Molokai, so getting a little bit nervous, but okay. So I am really, really delighted to be here today because I've been working business women in semiconductor and the solar energy industry for more than 35 years. But when I got into this business, solar plus battery storage, it made me think a lot, about cost of energy, availability, and the security of home energy supply. So being, housewife, mothers, and raising the family, we are all we have lots of, payments such as mortgage, car loan, student loan, kids' education, so many costs. And when I got into this business, that made me think I also must buy my own power generation and, produce my own energy to enable to have required more lower cost of energy. So that made me think to developing a new business model, because this set me on the path to find the ways how our just regular person can benefit from their own home energy generation and the battery storage. So in order to overcome this gap, I've been promoting a new business model that provides reliable, sustainable, and renewable energy. And I have spoken to many PV conferences last several years about my business model. But today, this presentation is one of the one I have always wanted to participate, as audience is a community and actual energy users. I think I'm okay. Yes. Thank you. So vision of our business, follows Sampo Yoshi, so which is Japanese business philosophy that ensures optimum benefit for all stakeholders. So that this same philosophy, we also follow into mission to provide best energy solution and energy asset management for our customers. And goals, which is 100% customer-centric. and through creation of zero carbon energy communications, and including building a true smart home, which means not convenient home. It means self-sustainable and resilient and a safe home for communities. And also providing community low cost of energy. So we target 30 to 40% lower than current electricity bills. So this is just a quick about Sampo Yoshi. So this split is Sampo Yoshi is our corporate vision, but also Japanese business philosophy. And this has been passed down through hundreds of years in Japan. And we will continue to be passed down many future generations to come. So in Japanese, Yoshi means goodness, and the Sampo means three sides. So these three sides consist of seller, buyer, and society. So Sampo Yoshi is therefore the good for seller, but good for buyer, and good for the society. So this is three-way satisfactions. And we stick with it, and we keep doing this. So our organization really wish to contribute solving social issues, but not only just seeking for maximize our profit, but also considering and responding to the expectation and trust of all our stakeholders and shareholders and everybody in the community. So I strongly believe Sampo Yoshi is the business spirit to bring positive effect into the world and society and contribute to real sustainable society for all. So Sampo Yoshi in other way can be said to be the roots of real today's idea of sustainability. Okay, then just about what we do. Here is our business. So east side, this is we do management technology. So based in Japan and California technology. And the Haru Energy, this is our residential local EPC company. So engineering, procurement, and the construction. So our business model is we call on-site PPA. So existing business, as I mentioned, usually selling equipment or finance. So end users purchase and by cash or loan or lease sometimes. But our business model is we provide energy as a service. So customer pay for electricity, whatever they use from our system. So our on-site PPA, energy as a service, this is just a quick, quick photo. The configuration. So energy supply contract via PPA, which is power purchase agreement, is made between homeowner and the homeowner association or any third-party owner. And subcontracted to Haru Energy. And each home has pre-installed. So you have solar and the battery storage owned by third-party owner or HOA. And the energy monitoring and the control by ESTAT on behalf of this owner. So down the road, we plan to share energy within community microgrid, but it requires using utility transmissions infrastructure, which is not available in Hawaii. It's available in California or Japan, but it's not available in Hawaii now. So this is shown participant for this, our on-site PPA microgrid. So for customer to get lowest possible energy bill, a smart community structure requires creation. And this aims for as much local involvement and input as possible, including jobs for local workforce, such as installation, service, and maintenance. And the structure can be provided this opportunity for mini utility so asset owners, and can generate community revenue. So I believe this sample Yoshi and our business model to bring positive effect into the community and contribute to sustainable society for all. So please remember, I think the first couple of speakers, they also mentioned, please remember, if you use fuel by oils, which means money is leaving the island. So we must ensure that wherever possible, the money we spend remains in our island. The same thing in Japan. As long as you use the oil, money leaves the island. So this is our renewable, this on-site PPA business model we've been doing in Japan, not in Hawaii yet, but I try to show the video later. But this is we've been doing in Miyako Island, one of the island in Okinawa. So we install solar and battery free of charge, and we only charge for the energy they used. So this is how we do in Japan. So the green line, you see the green line? So that is, the green line is our energy management and the home aggregation. And the orange line is the actual electricity which goes to all homes in the community. So it's regardless whether they have solar or not. Some house in Okinawa, really old, roof is out of shape, but we provide same price, same power purchase agreement price to all neighborhood in the community. And this is the, one more thing. And also for utility, I forgot to mention about the utility. So utility provide us within 30 minutes grid data. So we get the grid data from utility, and we provide grid utility every 5 minutes of our grid data. So in the evening time, when they need any energy, the peak time, they can see how much energy, excess energy we have, so they can buy from us. So we have a two revenue stream. One is from residential, but also, demand charge from a utility company. So this is our current PPA, power purchase price in Okinawa. So our price is 23 cents kilowatt hour in Miyako Island, which is almost, same situation in, here. So I think we can do it. So this is, I can show you the video, but this is kind of my last slides. So laws and, what is our laws? So for community, resilience should be throughout it, informed by community outreach. So it's really, really important for community talk to everybody in the community, make sure they are all committed and agreed. In Miyako Island, we had 3 big families in the island, and they don't talk to each other. And we have to go and visit every single, those families. One say yes, then no, 2 other families never say no. Took us almost 6 months to convince those families. But now everybody agree and participate this community on-site PPA. Even as you see, the pricing is kind of low, like 23-4 cents, and they don't have to buy the system. So all residential people said it's like a scam. Like they look at the contract and try to find what's wrong with us. So it took us actually almost a year to get this, on-site, PPA in Okinawa. And for utility, they have to do demand response, and we need to share data. So grid balance data provided access, kind of grid data, and we have to share the data. And also they need to provide interconnection point and meters. So for utility, it doesn't cost any money. They just need to approve the interconnect and let us, exchange the data. That's all we need. It doesn't cost any money for utility. And for Haru Energy and Easter and the Molokai team, we can do on-site PPA, as I shown, and we can do energy management. We can make a very system efficient and a system monitoring and managing and maximizing your system. That's all we can do. That's we can do, which means we are ready. So we just need community and the utility, commitment. We need the community to commit and the utility to support. Those are the very two crucial things to make it happen. So this is the movie that we did in Miyako.
我々宮古島で行っているプロジェクトは太陽光とパワーウォール、あとお客様の要望に応じてエコ給湯器とか EV 充電器などをですね、無料で設置して、使った分だけエネルギー料金をお支払いいただくというような普及ビジネスを展開しております。
観光客でいうと100万人に達しようかというところまで来ました。台風時に明かりがある、冷蔵庫が使える、こんなもう素晴らしいことはないですよね。
再生可能なエネルギーを増やして CO2 の削減できるような努力をみんなもっとして経営の海を取り戻せたらいいなと思います。
車への充電も再生可能エネルギーで行えば宮古島の自然も守られていくことになると思います。
地域でこういう一つの発電所のような電気を融通し合うところまで行けたら最高かなと思っています。
This project we used a Tesla battery, so almost like a Tesla's. They used Tesla used in their commercial and things, so you see Tesla's name. But we also use the Panasonic system as well. So not only Tesla, but we used a few other systems. But in Miyako Island, small island, we did it. Our fare was so expensive, and we tried to keep the money in the island, and we've been doing this. And so I think, I really want to bring this business model to the island of Molokai, because I think this is I think Sampo Yoshi works. It's good for user, good for seller. I mean, seller is locally we can install and provide energy as a service. And once it start, become sustainable, the island become really sustainable. So this is I wanted to share today. Thank you. So that's my presentation. Yeah.
How about another round of applause for our great, great, great presenters? And Tesla did not provide financial support for this program tonight. Thank you so much for all of your hard work. It's so amazing to hear about all this amazing grassroots action. I think there's so many negative externalities that can be avoided when you start at the grassroots, start with the community. And instead of coming in from the outside, there's so many projects that, I've noticed meetings where they come in and they present a shopping list of options and then they expect communities to just pick one out of A, B, C, or D. I think it's really great, so inspiring to see all the work here. So we're gonna have all the presenters come up and we're gonna do a panel discussion. And this is where you're gonna be able to ask your questions to any of the panelists.
Sorry. So I guess what it is like, where's the seed money, the startup? Because to do that, you need to get the batteries, the panels, and all that stuff like that. So how do you get that money to those people that are running gasoline, you know, or how do you get them off the gasoline into these sustainable?
I would love if somebody from Oahu potentially could, if you have an answer.
I think we lost our mics. No.
So one program that we are running now, or been maybe for a year or so, is it's an online app. You can go onto Oahu website, and it's a survey and an application for off-grid people who are living off-grid. So it's been running through social media. We've been posting on the bulletins here and there. Oh, maybe I should pull it up. No. But and we have allotted so many number that are available through this grant monies. So it's on Oahu energy.coop, our website you can go to. And then you can fill out the survey and the app. That's one avenue to try and get into these programs. Mahalo.
Leimana, can you say a little bit more about, not everybody can afford it. Not everybody can qualify for the finances that are needed to take out a loan. There's a lot of people, communities who will fall through that energy gap, and they will remain in energy insecurity. I believe that you would have to make really hard choices as a mother. For example, are you going to pay for your gasoline, or are you going to feed your babies? Can you talk a little bit more about what are some of the choices, why this work is so important, especially in the context of the climate crisis, where we know communities aren't hit equally. They don't get the same. They don't feel the climate crisis the same. Some pay a much higher price. So what is the question? So what sort of choices? I mean, the energy justice angle. What are the hard choices that communities without access, without energy justice? What are some of those choices that you've had to make? I mean, choosing food or fuel, for example, or...
Yeah, it's hard. I guess everybody has their own situation. Everybody just figure out a way to make it work. So like growing up on a homestead, like my mom had to just figure out how to make it work for us. So I know there's a lot of programs in our community that we can apply for people who have low funds, but I guess personally as a mother, for my Kiki, I just do and find a way to make my kids okay. Whether it be asking for help or, starting a business with my sister that really hardly went anywhere, but just being passionate about something, offering something to our community and just having it work full circle for us, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I want to speak to that a little bit too, because I'm certainly not rich. I definitely live in a poverty zone, and even for a grid-connected person, say you live on the mainland, you have a higher earning wage, and your utility bill is much cheaper. So it's just a much smaller percentage of your bill. But the cost of living is so high on Molokai, and our access to good jobs and good employment is it's a challenge, right? And so if you look at the amount of money that we make and the amount of money we have to spend on the utility, that percentage for energy is much, much, much higher. I think gas is still over $6 a gallon, you know what I mean? So not just the electricity, but the transportation. And so what you'll find is that when you're living like me and you have a super fixed budget, you're going to be living month to month, and depending on if you want to run the AC or not, or heat the water or not, you're going to have to compromise. You're going to have to go without somewhere.
Any questions from the audience? Yes, please come up to the microphone. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I was blessed to be able to set up photovoltaic when the Fed and the state government gave those energy credits. So that was a while back, but now I'm having issues with maintenance and repair, and unfortunately, I think all of the companies are off island, whether Oahu or Maui, and so we have to, twice I've had to help pay for the airfare in addition to the repair, and they have to come do an assessment, and then they go back, and then they come ship the equipment over, and then you pay for the repair and the person again. So BTW, I'm still having issues after 2 visits, and I'm not faulting the company. I'm just saying it's expensive because they're not here. So my question, I guess more to you, Todd, is will our techs, and that's the other thing, I just want to say I'm so proud of our community and these young people for doing what they're doing and being committed to the community. So sorry, I'm emotional just like them. But anyway, I think it would be really cool if they would be able, some point down the line, to be able to take that role on as well. But I 100%, 110% say that we need to help those that don't even have electricity first.
So I think we're probably with less than a year away where all of the students that we're training, they'll have had their hands on several systems and worked with all the different brands. And hopefully really soon, we will have our Molokai people will be able to take care of our Molokai people. That's one of our number one goals. And please come get my number afterwards, and I can come see what's going on.
We'll also be we're recording this, and it will be posted on our website, so you can reach out to our office. We can get you in contact if you're not here. Reach out to our office. We can get you in contact with the speakers here. I think one of the things that my vision for this speaker series is that sustainability is it's not an easy thing to accomplish. And I think it starts first with community, right? In order to solve any problem in a sustainable way, we need it to be looked at holistically. So all of the speakers here are really focusing on the fundamentals of how you do sustainability, how you build resilience, regenerative practices. So just kudos. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of dedication. Leadership is so important. Leilani, what would you say? Your presentation was awesome. One of those, your sort of overview, high-level slide, I have to say was a little bit intimidating. Where would a person start? Like, how would somebody start finding out what they need to do in order to create a project or start a project, a real sustainable project in their own community? What would they do?
That's a hard question.
Email you, right?
I think that Molokai has a lot of the foundation for this kind of work already. A lot of the work, especially in renewable energy, all the successful work and initiatives and programs in this community were all community-led, community-implemented, and community-driven. And that's just for energy. But we have numerous grassroots organizations across our island that are specifically aimed at taking care of our Molokai people. And I think those grassroots organizations are really the foundation and what we need to get started in this. And right now, we just got to kind of beef up those organizations a little bit. For renewable energy, it was really difficult to understand the technical side of everything. And so we got technical experts and advisors who could help us understand, you know, what actually is this saying when we're talking about these different options, and what does this specifically look like on Molokai? Like, how are we supposed to choose when we're looking at numbers that's for the general state of Hawaii and not for Molokai? You know, those kinds of things. And so having the space to continue asking each other the questions so that the technical experts understand what the community is actually saying that they want, and for the community to be able to articulate what it is that we want. I think that's like a really good start for figuring out what are we asking for, who is the right people that we need to be directing these asks to, and then making a unified ask directly to those people.
It's really powerful. Okay, we have a question. The one here behind you, Tess. And then another one afterwards.
Well, thank you. Really impressed with what the community here has done, bringing people together as a grassroots movement to build this renewable energy movement on the island. And so there's that, and then we're hearing about this, the company that's working in Okinawa and on the island. And I went to the presentation where it was a detailed presentation, and it's amazing what's being done there. But I'm kind of wondering how they work together, like this sort of grassroots movement that's building, you know, 15 houses here and 10 houses there and so on. And then how does this company, which has this experience of building a system for a whole island, how does that work together, if that question makes sense?
So as I showed the diagram, so we call on-site, PPA, power purchase agreement. So first we did with like a 5, I think less than 10 homes, because we are installing solar panel battery storage, right? And the user only pay for the electricity they use. So we need the money to purchase and install panel and battery storage. So started with very small. The founder, he didn't have any investment. So he borrowed the money from his family and just started with 5 sites. And then went to 10. But the reason he did is gotta be the whole community's commitment. So if there's 10 homes in the community, 10 homes has to commit it. Because regardless they have a solar or not, we are giving the same price, right? So that's the way community, the head of the community need outreach to every single residential in the community physically and make sure everybody is committed and sign up. Otherwise, Mr. A, he buy 23 cents from us, and the Mr. B, he pay 40 cents from an Okinawa power company. That won't work in the community. All need to be fair, and that's why we called on-site PPA, because there's all other company does PPA, power purchase agreement, but we do on-site, so which means every single people in the community has to commit it. And we started very, very small, because very limited fund. And once we start building and people wanted to sign up. Then we could borrow some money and end up owning the 10% of Okinawa grid. So nowadays, with one click, they can make the blackout in Okinawa Island. But started small. So as I mentioned, one by one, based on the fund you have, you don't have to go 50 or 100. So started small, but every single, residential in the community, they have to participate. And also, the lady who mentioned about the, if you buy a system, you have to maintenance, and you have to call service, right? And island like Molokai, it takes sometimes 2 months to get the service. But if they don't own the system, if we or Mini told the utility company own the system, it's their system. So you don't have to worry about the maintenance. You just pay for the electricity you have. I think it's, why homeowner, they buy system and why they have to, do the monitoring, check your usage, sometimes they're busy with other stuff. And, I think that's why the base idea we came up for this Okinawa. And it just every single people in the community, they agreed and committed. And we started with very small number, started with just 5 or 6. And that's why in Molokai, we are going to start with 5 homes. First comes, first serve. But we are going to, try this.
And I just want to be really clear about Harumi's intentions, right? Any other solar company can come in here to Molokai and make money, but they're not, right? Why is there no solar right now in Molokai? And it's because it's just like you heard. You have to fly your crew in here. You have to ship everything here and everything else. And Harumi and I have been having this dialogue now for over a year. And so her intentions aren't to come in here and introduce her company and sell her products, right? I consider her a pioneer in solar because what's more important than money for her is helping people and coming up with a technology of how to help people, right? And so these 5 homes is going to be in partnership with my solar company. And it's kind of a gift in a way, she's not selling the idea. She's not coming in as a large developer. She's literally sharing a concept with our local people here and allowing us to take that idea, to steward that idea, and to apply our own workforce and our own people into that idea. So,
I'm also impressed by your dedication, Harumi, and how you view business as part of a community and not separate from, embedded within a community. When community members benefit, the business benefits. It's not just a corporate social responsibility project for you. It really is a more responsible model for business. Okay, we have another gentleman with a question.
Yes, this is for Keanu. How are you planning to incorporate the robotics class into this? Because it's right down their alley, and with their inventive minds, they will be able to figure out the bugs in a hurry. And also to the lady from Japan, Konbanwa Oba-san. I grew up in Okinawa, 1946 to 1957.
I might be able to answer the robotics group question a little bit. So Edwin, you guys all know Edwin. He is the leader for the Molokai robotics team. And he's actually a member of the Molokai Clean Energy Hui as well. And we've heard over and over from our community that we really value investing in our workforce as we figure out what kinds of projects we would like. We would like on-island maintenance if anything goes wrong. And repair and those kinds of capabilities to mirror our renewable energy development on island. And we want to make sure that we're considering projects that give preference to continuing to invest or utilize our local workforce. And for CRAP anyways, we haven't gotten that far into the specifics for any projects. But there are a lot of places in our community in which workforce alignment, it seems like it would align really well with the future that we want for ourselves.
Aloha everyone, and thank you for the panel. I really agree with Barbara over there that mentioned about young generations. Well, just let me be clear with you. I used to work for Hawaii Energy, and it all started out by anybody who pays electric bill, 1% come from everybody, each bill. So what had happened was Hiko and Miko wasn't taking out the 1% to provide workshop or do outreach in the communities, okay? So I'm glad that you folks doing this job, yeah? So, but for me, you have a panel, and it's just as a suggestion. With this panel, you have to have people that are your clients or your residents that are experiencing what programs you have. They're your clients. They're the ones that need to speak. Yeah? Because they're gonna show off your program and how it works. Yes, you might be the manager, you might be the director, but it has to be the real people that speak the experience. Something like her, right? I know Todd. Todd knows my ex-boss, Helen Y, right? When we talk about energy, we talk about, you have to be real. You have, okay, a coffee percolator is $28 during my time 10 years ago. Yeah? That's how much you're gonna pay if you're calculating all day. Blow dryer, all these little things is what you gotta teach. Because I don't care what you have out here, if you're not teaching the initial, how to condense your bill, it's all about teaching how to condense your bill. It has to be a habit. Like, example, you have children, you're busy, you're cooking. My child is in the shower for 15 minutes. You need to teach your kids how to take a bath, 8 minutes. So much clues to do. But I don't care what kind of program you have here, if you're not teaching them all these little things, like blow dryer. I use a lot of blow dryer. I have a bad hair day. It can cost a lot of money. Even your smartphone, they're not that smart. It's energy. So I'm not saying that you're not doing that job, but I come to share a little mana'o. You don't have to do what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is how to be effective. Your effectiveness is that you bring your real client that experience the grit. If you're working with somebody with the grit, have somebody here talk to. Give them 5 minutes. How the team would work. But I want to thank, my high tonight is, I see young generation. Because I don't go to meetings. In fact, I saw Todd at Keawe's house, and I wanted to talk to him badly at a party, but it wasn't the proper time. So when I only heard this today, somebody came to Verizon. I do work for Verizon. So I just want to share a little mana'o. You got to start from scratch. I don't care what you do. Todd did my two sisters' house, photo protect. I wanted to do a photo protect. But it was reasonable. Uncle Black's house was cheap. I wanted to do one, but they don't do it anymore, right? Electricity, I live Kalama'ula. My house is 4 years old. I pay $87 a month. When COVID came in, I pay $148. And I'm not going to grumble. It's because That's how it is. So when we talk about cars, I heard somebody talking about cars, right? In front of Verizon or Molokai, there's only one. What we need to do a study, needed to do studies. If you got, if you have grant money, you got to do studies. A study is Molokai. You only get one to put that energy gas. You need to do a study how many there is. Same thing with Auntie Barbara. I know all about that. Her solar is dirty, right? Every 5-7 years, you got to clean it. Do our people in Molokai have the skills? Are we teaching our kids? Those are skills. And they're not hard skills. They're not hard skills. So with that, I want to just thank you. A lot of people don't think I used to work for Hawaii Energy. I used to work for Hawaii Energy. Let me tell you about Hawaii Energy. I work like, you know, the store Marcus. We're not, it's just a joke. We're not Kmart. But today, it's different. Hawaii Energy is different. They really condense a lot of things. So with that, Todd and everybody else, Leilani, thank you very much.
Okay, I think we have another question.
Oh, one last question. One last question. Because I went on your website.
Please use the
today.
mics.
Last question. I went, and this may be Todd's. I went to the website, glance, learn about what you guys doing. I hear the word, I see the word pala'au. Now, I know we need the plant. I know we need aina. And I heard you say, main thing, we keep our culture values. And specifically is our Hawaiian culture values when it comes to Molokai. Because when you talk about Molokai, about culture values, you need to watch all of that. But, so my question is, need land, because you're talking about plant. Do a study, I don't know. Because I saw 2,000 something electricity of Molokai. Maybe, well, no, 4,000. Another 3,000 maybe they're not using. So at that time it was 2021, I read the website today. So I'm hoping, Todd, with your good work, because Todd, I gotta applaud Todd because he has roots for the kind of work that you do, because your grandpa was the man. And so with that, so the question is, what kind of relationship that you have with Hawaiian Homestead?
Sure. So, first of all, I'd like to say that the site that Oahu is building the community-based renewable energy on, the largest site is at Pala'au Power Plant. And my father, Bruce Yamashita, actually, when he was working for Molokai Electric, he actually set aside nearly 20 acres knowing that Molokai would need that space in the future for renewables. And this was over 20 years ago now, maybe close to 30 years ago. But in terms of that specific site, we actually hired our local practitioners, including Auntie Kamalu Poipoi, to do an exhaustive cultural study in that area. And so we're always going to apply that level of sensitivity. But and another question was about homesteads. And we are starting on the homesteads. That's where most of the people who are living off of generators, using dirty energy, that's where the most need is. And I don't think there's any question about that. And about half the students in our workforce class come from the homesteads. At least a third of our students in a workforce class don't have electricity in their homes, or their family doesn't have electricity in a home. So that's just a reflection of the people on this island, coming out and utilizing and making use of a really good thing.
Awesome. It seems that leadership is a super important aspect of this. Somebody needs to step up, stick their neck out, and try something different, move from the status quo, right? I really appreciate the innovative nature of the work that I'm learning more and more about. Can you say something about what it takes to get a community going?
Honestly, this is probably the better, well, specifically in regards to Ho'ahu, I wish Ali were here to answer this question. I think it takes a lot of work, and first and foremost, building individual pilina with those in the community. I actually forgot to mention this earlier, but something that I think is really important is distinguishing being invited into a community versus inviting yourself into a community. Every project we've worked on, it has been a personal ask of one or another person that has pilina with a specific aina or place. And so I think it begins with an invitation, and from there it thrives feeding, or like just being built upon personal pilina and the pilina people have to each other. That is to have like the connection they have to each other. And from there, it moves on to accountability. And from there, I think momentum is essential. So all starts with an invitation, all starts with pilina. And I think a really important part of it is understanding pacing as well and what you are asking of people. And so to that extent, I think that containers, beginnings and ends, are really important so that people are not committing unreasonable amounts of time. It takes a lot of time and energy, so being mindful of that is important. That's all.
One question here.
My name is Walter Mendes, and I just wanted to thank everybody here for today because I learned a lot, and because I've been kind of resting from meetings, and my last energy meeting was way back when Miko was trying to get people back on the grid and panels. And so I went in to those meetings and put my name up, and I got declined. But I got declined, but the house that I'm at was owned by Mr. Henry Whipke, and his house had 3 houses in Hawaii, first solar panels to be put up, solar electric. His was one of them, by Arco Solar. And he had 110 panels, and I got declined, but he had the first one on Hawaii. But anyway, I want to thank everybody, and I guess I'll be coming to more meetings because I want to learn more. This is very informational for me. And I'm a homesteader, retired fireman, Maui County. And thank you very much for the info.
Thank you for coming. We have another question from the audience.
Sorry. Yeah, we keep talking about community. In my neighborhood, several of us have gotten together and thought, well, we could put up a sort of a small community solar system because it was probably the economy of scale would be to our advantage of doing that. But we run into the problem where the county won't let us run lines across property lines. There are any number of stumbling blocks that we have to pass. And I'm just sort of wondering, where is this going in the future? Because we don't have that much longer to wait, you know. But, and it's certainly going to be good for the younger people along the way too. But is there any progress along those lines?
So I know exactly what the issue is you're talking about, which I think people mostly call wheeling, even though we've been told not to call it that. But, you know, I think the renewable energy or just energy policy in general was made the same time the energy planning process was made, and it was very geared towards planning for fossil fuel. And we're just way past that, right? Like we all know we got to move to renewable energy. And so our systems need to change so that we can actually implement, and our policies need to change so that we can actually implement in a way that makes sense for us. And through the CRAP process, we've learned so much about the renewable energy planning process, the technical feasibility side of it, what renewable energy policy is already out there, and gotten a really good idea of where it's still inadequate. And in the Molokai CRAP report, we have a bunch of like policy change recommendations. But again, going back to like beefing up our grassroots organizations, there's nobody on the team that's got the legal side that can do policy making. But building our community's capacity to be able to research and look what policy is there, how it can be tweaked and recommended and that kind of stuff, I think will get us on a faster track of being able to implement the systems that we actually want that make a lot of sense for us. I wish I had a better answer on the timing of it all. But, you know, there's a lot of interest and energy behind renewable energy. Lynn DeCoit, our senator, energy is one of her initiatives, and she took our list of policy change recommendations, and she has the team that has the capacity to be able to look at all of these critically and translate it into the more political language and policy change recommendations that we need. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of that and continue to define and articulate what it is that we're asking for. I hope that answers your question.
Just a comment, though. Most of us are a little bit older than you guys. And when we were younger than you guys, we knew solar was coming. But nobody ever did anything about it. So more power to you guys.
You know, Molokai, we've been doing this work for 2 years, and we really had our heads down in the community, right? Making sure that each person and each part of our island is being represented and being able to access this process, access the info they need to input, and actually give their mana'o in a way that's easy for them. I forgot where I was going with that. Yes, power to us. And now that the CRAP report is done, we've been doing a lot of sharing off island. And what I've come to realize is that Molokai actually is leading the way for this kind of change. You know, communities all over Hawaii are saying, hey, this is not fair. We want to be involved. We want to be able to make our own decisions. And because everybody is just, you know, submitting their individual comments, it's not getting us very far. But Molokai has a community where everybody here cares so much for each other and so much for Aina and so much for their future generations, and making sure that we're not unfairly burdening them, that it was easier for us to all organize and give our input and say what we want. And so outside of Molokai, you know, there is a lot of support for what we're doing, which makes me really excited. And there are a lot of people looking to what we're doing so that they can cherry pick what works best for their communities so they can go and get the same thing.
So you're maintaining community, rebuilding, not just becoming energy secure, but also just doing a lot of grassroots building community, keeping community, so people can stay here, grow here. It's amazing. So if there's no last questions, I'd like to, we have one more.
I was wondering if there is a committee that is planning the celebration that is going to escort the last diesel truck to the power plant.
I think you've just nominated yourself the head of that committee.
And that's a way of asking, is that the end point that everyone is looking at? That the power plant will be at some point shut down because it will be no longer necessary? That's my question. My other, just a clarification question for Hirumi is it my understanding from what you said that the capital costs of putting in these creating these microgrids is actually something that is not going to be borne by the users except through their electricity fees. Is that correct?
Yes. You just pay for whatever energy you used. Yes, correct.
And users are not expected to be the technicians that maintain them.
No, it's just like it's energy is energy, electricity is electricity. So you use it and you pay for it, but our cost of energy from solar panel battery storage is almost 40% lower than utility, the grid price. So.
And one of the visions I have is bringing the power to the people, right? Going to where they live and providing resilience at the place that they live. And if you can imagine a whole island of people doing this, right? Or even a quarter of the island doing that, now you have batteries distributed all across the island, right? As we change our legislation, as technology improves, while we can't share that energy yet with each other, you can aggregate those systems and you can actually, and Harumi talked about this, you can actually sell that as grid services. So you can actually use all those individual systems aggregated to make the grid healthier, right? And conceivably, there's a term called virtual power plant. Conceivably, if you get enough of these homes with enough batteries going on, yes, you can turn off the diesel generators because there'll be enough batteries on standbys that are smart enough to dissipate when the greater grid needs power. It's like Molokai really is a big microgrid, right? And so if you can figure out an ethical way to share that energy, I think it can happen.
Excellent. Okay, because I want everyone to enjoy the rest of the food, I think we're going to close it here. This is a zero waste event, so we have a zero waste station. The gift bags that you got are yours to keep. Please pile them full of food to take home for yourself, for your family. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks to everyone who made this event possible. I know I bugged you for your presentations, for everything. Maybe a little bit too much, especially yesterday. I appreciate all the energy that you've put into this. I know you're super busy. You've got a lot on your plate. Thank you to our local host. First of all, our speakers, thank you. Our local host, Wabu Energy Cooperative, thank you so much. Our program partner, Akaku Community Media. Thanks also to Nani and Mike Kahino for the Ono Grinds, plant-based, locally sourced, locally made. Really yummy. Can't wait to try it. Finally, a huge mahalo goes out to my Ride or Die crew at EP&S. You guys are the best. Tess, Cody, Claire, Cecile, Gary, Mary, Tanja. You guys are amazing. So positive and supportive. I couldn't have organized this event without you. Drive safe, everyone, after you get some more food. And keep tuned and stay tuned for the next speaker series. Mahalo.